Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Techopolis 2. In between episodes, I upgraded our tree farm and added overflow protection. As you can see, we have a trash can here at the end. All of the items get extracted from the barrel, travel up, and then the dropping conveyor belt tries to drop them inside the drawer. If the drawer is full, the item moves on and drops in the trash can. Simple as that. Before we do any sort of automation, I kind of want to progress to get to thermal expansion because that's just going to allow us to pulverize all the ores instead of having to drop them in the furnaces. So we're just going to go and progress in the quest book. So firstly, we have to make the research papers for iron and aluminum, and we can submit these in here. And now we can get iron fragments and aluminum fragments from colored stone with a prospector pick. There we go. And then it's the same deal as before. We have to make 36 of the ore. And for these, we need the tier 4 support frames, which we made last episode. Since making miners manually is very tedious, if we toss some wooden pickaxes in here in this chest, we should see miners being made automatically in the crafting table. So we can just infinitely toss in pickaxes and it should distribute and make miners for us. It's pretty much same deal as before. We set up the frame, put in the ore, and then set up the miner. We can lock and quantify the drawer. And now I need to set up the other one, which is going to be for aluminum. We can then bring our iron to our furnace, and it takes 5 iron ore to smelt it into 1 iron ingot. We can then craft an iron block and also an aluminum block. In the quest book, it wants to spend our precious iron on 16 rails for whatever reason. And then I totally made too many coke bricks because we only need 3 crafts of this recipe and I'm just missing the 2 aluminum, which should be over here. And now we have our blast bricks for our crude blast furnace. I'm guessing we're gonna need more blast bricks in the future and we can just use the coke bricks that we've made. So let's set this up right on top of the coke oven. That's perfectly fine. And if we right click with the hammer, we get ourselves a blast furnace and we can start tossing in iron and I think coal coke as fuel and it's gonna turn it into steel ingots. We will also make a steel block for the quest. And then we need 4 steel blocks to unlock redstone research papers. With 1 iron ingot and 8 sticks, we can make the tier 5 support frame. And the fluid absorber is a little bit expensive. It requires blocks of iron, so it's just gonna have to wait for the moment. After a bit of waiting and a bit of ore processing, we now have enough steel and enough iron to do what we need. So we're gonna firstly unlock redstone. And in here we can submit it. Get a tech buck as well. And now we can get redstone fragments. And another thing, I think I explained it, we can now disable iron and aluminum. And we should be enabled with the redstone by default, so we just need to break a little bit of this. We can craft our redstone ore, and we're gonna set it up in the miner, and I'm assuming this can't also be turned to redstone, it's just the coal and the lapis, which can be turned into their corresponding bits. So let's set up a redstone miner pretty much the same way I set up those over there. And we're now successfully getting redstone. Alrighty, that should be the quest completed. Except we need to make the fluid absorber, of course we do. And now prepare for mega noise. In the last episode, I made tier 4 support frames, and I made enough so we can farm up some gravel, some sand, and some clay as well. So I kind of think we don't need the grout one, so I just removed it, because you only need grout for the grout dust that you need to use to make the coke bricks, which then you use to make the blast bricks. So we have 2048 of groutness over here, and we're just gonna keep it in our drawer system at some point, and we don't have to worry about it. So I haven't played around with the little logistics mod, and I don't plan to right now, so we're just gonna skip the quest line, and we're gonna jump straight into immersive engineering, and for that we need some LV wire coils. We can then make some LV wire connectors, and LV wire relays, make a copper coil block, and turn that into a kinetic dynamo. And here is where our 3000 something treated wood is going to come in handy. We can make a stack of treated wood sticks, and then we can turn that into windmill parts. We need a windmill blade. And if we grab our wheat seeds, we can turn them into industrial hemp seeds, and we can then plant these, and the sneaky thing works, so we can just sneaky grow a whole bunch of industrial hemp. And that is used to make some tough fabric. The fabric can then be turned into a windmill sail. We will also make a water wheel segment, and 4 of those with a steel ingot turn into a water wheel, and 8 windmill blades with an iron ingot turn into a windmill. With 4 redstone blocks, we can unlock the metal press, and we should get as a reward everything we need to assemble it. If I recall correctly, it's assembled like this. Yeah, there we go. The redstone block here, the heavy engineering on the top, and the piston facing down in the middle. And now this guy requires power, hence why we made the water wheel and the windmill. And I haven't set up a windmill before, so let's try that. I think we can do just something like this. I don't know. Oh, it's turning. Okay. And then we can wire connector here and wire connector here on the top. And then wire, and this should be getting power. Nice. Simple and easy. It's not going to be a lot of power, but it's going to be a little bit. The next item that we need is the engineer's workbench. 8 steel in the crafting table like this makes the plate metal press mold, which you can then toss here in the metal press. And then if we toss in an iron ingot and a steel ingot, it's going to turn it into some plates. And the simple way of automating this, I believe, is just with a hopper here and then a chest on the other side. So if we toss in, let's say, another iron ingot, it should go in, get pressed, and stored in the chest. Nice. The next thing we're going to make is the engineer's blueprint, like so. And I think you can toss this in here, and now we can make all of these different metal press molds, which do require engineer's wire cutters, which then go in here, and then steel plates, but I think I need a few more than that. It's 3 steel plates per mold, and we need the one for gears, for rods, and I believe for wires, yes. We will then make a fluid outlet, which I haven't used before, but in the quest book it says that it is going to be helpful when filling areas with fluid source blocks for the fluid absorber. And here are just checkmark tasks, I believe, to make the assembler. We can craft treated wood with it, for example, and then we need a fluid pump, which requires just a whole bunch of iron plates. And there we go, that's going to be the fluid pipe. And chapter complete. We can unlock a way to craft tech bucks, so we're just going to do that first of all before we accept any of the other quests, because this is going to cost us 16 tech bucks. And now if we look at tech, we should be able to craft these. Yeah, it's bronze and basic Technium ingot for a singular tech buck. So it's kind of expensive, but at least we can do it. And I have 14 tech bucks left. So first of all, we're going to complete the construction ones, so we can do that. And then I have 9 left. Do we really need iron chests? I don't think we need iron chests just yet. So we're gonna, oh no, we actually can do it because we submitted 3. So yeah, iron chests also unlocked. I'm assuming if I put on some windmill sails, this will work a little bit better. Yeah, it's moving a little bit faster. The metal press was struggling for power, but now I think we should be good to just toss in a bunch of stuff to get pressed. Aluminum plates turn into aluminum sheet metal, which is one of the requirements for the advanced Technium, and I kind of want to have another crafting table for this. In this quest line, we have to unlock nickel, so we're just going to get some research papers for that. And now we can get nickel fragments, and if we turn off redstone, we should only be getting nickel from this colored stone. And it's same deal as before. We craft the ore, we set up the miner, and then we wait for nickel so we can progress. This one is the same as iron and aluminum. It's 5 nickel for a singular ingot in the jumbo furnace. And if we toss nickel and iron in the jumbo furnace, I think it should make us the ingots, not? Oh, it has to be in the alloy kiln, this. Okay. With some sandstone and some bricks, we can make the kiln brick blocks. And 8 of these turn into the alloy kiln, and then we can toss in the nickel and the iron with some fuel. I think it can just be planks. And that turns it into invar. And before it's all processed, we're going to turn some copper and some nickel into some constantan as well. One of the ingredients for the advanced Technium is some steel gears. So if we toss some steel ingots in here, I think that works. Or maybe does the hopper doesn't do it because it should only export 1, right? Okay. So we'll do it manually. I think you can just toss them on. There we go. Steel gears. The plan is to gather enough resources to make 8 Technium ingots, because we can then use those to unlock the silver and gold line, which requires 4 here, and then the thermal line, which requires 4 here as well. So for the moment, we are kind of just waiting for iron. So in the meantime, let's get ourselves a fluid absorber lava setup. The fluid absorber has the tier 5 support frame in the same way that we do for the miners, and then we need 36 buckets of lava. So we're gonna get that with some redstone. If we take some ceramic buckets and surround them with redstone, it gets us lava buckets. And I kind of didn't think this through, because I now have to drop these, and I have to drop something that's gonna go into the lava. Wooden hopper, go away. All right, so the lava buckets we can then place, simple like that. I wanted to use the fluid outlet, but it needs a tank and a pipe, which we don't have, so we're just gonna do this manually. And then we're gonna build up a little. We're actually gonna build from the side, which is gonna be easier. And then we place a lava, and apparently we're missing a lava here, okay. And that should be the last one. And now if we place a fluid absorber here in the middle, this guy should be pumping lava. The only problem is we don't have any sort of tank, but I'm assuming this guy can pump it into a fluid pipe from Immersive, which we did make. This guy. I don't think I'm gonna need the fluid pump, but we are gonna need some space, and I think we might have just enough here to set up the bottling machine, because we need some lava bottles. We need this guy. Immersive engineering just eats through your iron supply. We are making a metal barrel. I first tried the fluid absorber with a wooden barrel, but somebody didn't tell me that wood burns in lava, right? So if we place this should start collecting lava. If we set the bottom to be the input slot, which we can do like this, and then top can be output. And you are mining lava. Lava, 100 millibuckets. We got it. Nice. Okay, cool. So we are pumping lava as we speak. Now, I think I have everything set up for the bottling machine. We're just going to put it somewhere over here. This should make us the bottling machine. Haha, there we go. Okay, cool. Where is your fluid input? I'm assuming this. We'll see if we can auto pipe from this. And we're 1 pipe short. It is pumping lava. Awesome. So now I assume we just need glass bottles. We're gonna put down a drawer on this side and just a hopper on this side. And we can toss these guys in. And now we need somehow to transfer some power over from there. I got it working. We have a lot of these relays and connectors, and we can get zapped by the wires because they're electric. But we are making lava bottles. Oh, the animations are so cool. We are making our first advanced Technium ingots. Haha, let's complete the quest line. Since we're going to be running around our wires a lot, let's make some Faraday armor. This will protect us from the zapping of the wires at least, so we can at least roam around the base a little bit easier. It's super metal looking, but I think now I shouldn't get zapped by this, and the armor doesn't even take durability. Nice. 4 Constantum blocks and 4 advanced Technium ingots are going to make us the research papers for silver and gold. We can turn them in. I made some electrum ingots by combining some silver and some gold in the alloy kiln, and I have made enough that we have 4 blocks of it, so we can now make ourselves the thermal series mod research papers. The base of every thermal machine is the machine frame, which requires electrum gear, silver ingots, and some glass. A crucial component for most machines is also the redstone flux coil. I'm just going to make 8 for the moment. A simple early game power solution is going to be the magmatic dynamo, because we're making automatic lava way back there. The next machine is the induction smelter, and the reasoning behind it is I need to make flint, and I vein mined 2 stacks of gravel and got 0 flint. So I'm assuming I can just use this magmatic dynamo somewhere back here. This should get power. We're gonna toss the induction smelter on it, and then we can burn gravel to get flint. I needed the flint for the pulverizer, and we're also gonna grab a redstone furnace because we're here. I want to make a fluid cell to store the lava, and here we run into the same problem as we did in Techopolis. We need cured rubber, which is regular rubble, which is vines, and a water bucket. So simply enough, we're just gonna grow a jungle tree, and we can just shear the vines off of it. There we go, that's a stack. I want to get the most out of the rubber that we have, because we only have 8, and we can double it, seemingly. So I'm just tossing some lapis ore in the pulverizer, and there's a 75% chance that we get a piece of sulfur, and then I need 4 pieces of that to turn this rubber into 16 dry rubber. We're kind of struggling on storage space right now, so I'm just going to upgrade a couple chests to golden chests, and we can just start dumping everything in here that we are using. I also want to make a multi-servo press, which is kind of sort of going to replace the metal press, because this guy can, I believe, make gears. Yeah, there you go. You can see it when we use the gear working die, which requires diamonds. Of course it does. Why would you require? Of course it requires diamonds. Well, that's not going to help us much. I think it can still make plates though, so that'll be better. But for the gears, we're going to have to wait until we get diamonds, which is when? Okay, it's in the ultimate tech, so it's not that unreasonably far away. And to actually make the fluid cell, we need 1 piece of hardened glass, which in this pack is obsidian, sand, and steel dust, so that's not too difficult to do. Do you retain your inventory? You do. Wonderful. I set up a quick and easy ore processing, induction smelter, multi-servo press setup, and we're gonna just upgrade our magmatic dynamo to make 80 RF per tick, and that should easily charge up all of these machines, and it should use 20 per machine, so even if we're using all of the machines, we should be okay. But now what we can do is we can set this to auto input, auto output, input, and auto output, and we should be getting ores processed. And each one of these is going to make 2 dusts, so we turn 1 ore to 2 ingots instead of 5 ores to 1 ingot. So a little bit better. I decided to put a barrel here in between because we get all sorts of byproducts from each of the ores, so it's going to be easiest if we just store it that way. Plus, I also noticed it's 2 dust per ingot instead of just doubling. It's basically processing 1 ore into 1 ingot, which is still much, much better than the 5 ores we were doing before. For the fluid cell, we need 1 piece of obsidian, which is where our blast chiller will come in handy. So we're going to toss it right over here, and we need to hook it up to some power. We're then just going to bucket in 1 bucket of lava, and it should get chilled into 1 piece of obsidian. There we go. We can then toss obsidian, sand, and steel dust in the induction smelter to make our hardened glass, and then we can finally make a fluid cell. And there we go. This is going to be a much better storage because it's going to store 32,000 millibuckets, which is 32 full buckets, and this guy only stores 12, so it's going to be a little bit of an upgrade. We'll set the bottom to be input, and there we go, lava. With 4 steel blocks and some more advanced technium, we can make the simple storage networks research papers, and these are, I believe, here in the advanced research. We can collect these with 24 tech bucks. Nice. And then if we look at simple, how difficult are the recipes for these? Not really too bad. Awesome. The main component of simple storage networks is the basic network cable, and that is then used to make the storage network root, which is kind of like the controller of the network. Our storage inventory is how we're going to access the items, and I think we upgrade that to the storage request table, like so. We are then going to make some filtered link cables. I think like 2 sets should be plenty for what we need right now, and what we can do is these 3 chests, for example, we can add these guys here, and then if we do the network route, let's say somewhere back here, and then we can, I think, add this guy anywhere on the cables, and we should be able to see, and we can sort by amount, and there we go, we see all of our items, and we can even craft from here. So that is super easy and simple to craft stuff. I started to remodel the base a little bit. We're gonna have a 5 long strip of miners, and it's gonna go to the left and to the right as far as it needs to go for the amount of miners that we currently have, and then the future miners that we're gonna get from other ores. And I decided to use some center cut spruce logs from Chipped, which look really cool. You can see the spruce texture and the spruce log texture, which is really nice, and I love it. So over here, we have the cobble, the stone, the clay, the sand, the dirt, and the gravel. And we have 4 more slots open here for 4 future things that we're gonna get that are gonna be like regular old blocks and not ores. And then on the left side and on the right side of these, we're just gonna set up the miners that we have over there. So now it's time to start moving everything over. The floor on the right side and on the left side is complete, so now it's time to move the miners. As you probably noticed, I have a few new tools. I was tired of making and remaking stone pickaxes, and I made a flux saw and a flux bore, and this is the simple recipe. It's not too difficult to make. And this is basically an RF operated pickaxe and axe. And I made also the energetic infuser, and you can just toss it in here to get charged up. It's gonna use up a little bit of power, but all in all, it's a great addition to our tool arsenal. My tools were constantly running out of power, so I made a flux capacitor, and you may be wondering where I'm getting lead from. In the quest book here, it says, my tools were constantly running out of power, so I decided to make a flux capacitor, which holds 500,000 RF, and that is gonna make our tools last 10 times as long, pretty much. And this guy, if we press V, we can change 3 different modes. It can charge your inventory, all items, or equipment. And I think equipment is what we want for the moment. I also crafted up 4 tech bucks, and we're gonna invest them in a drawer controller because we don't have access to diamonds yet to craft it ourselves. Now that we have a drawer controller, we can start tossing items in compacting drawers, and it looks like I'm gonna have to make nuggets first because we have compressed blocks for everything. I decided to just toss the storage drawers down here for the moment. Eventually we're gonna move them to where the item is being produced in the base. You will see once we get to it. Our simple storage network looks like this for the moment. We have the request table so we can craft our bits. The storage route is right back here. And the way these filtered link cables work is if we have the number 0, it means that the item is gonna try and go to this drawer first before it will go, for example, in this chest, which has the number 1, and then this chest number 2, this chest number 3, and then we have 4, 5, 6 on the other side. So it's gonna slowly but surely fill up the chests one by one. And if we run out of storage, we add more chests. But I think by the time we get to refined storage or applied energistics, we shouldn't fill up this much anyway. I also made a bit more advanced Technium ingots so we can research the lead. There we go. The next step to progressing is going to be to make the magma crucible. The next machine is going to be the Crystallizer. When I reset up the sand miner, I put on a compacting drawer, and we're now making sandstone as well. So we can toss this through the pulverizer and get ourselves some niter. In the meantime, we're gonna toss a couple bits of sand to get melted into liquid glass. We have our niter, and I think we put it in the crystallizer with some liquid glass. So we can do an auto input on the left and an output on the right, and toss the niter in. And you are incredibly slow. We now have our crystal base. We're gonna toss some crystal base with some water, and it should make us prismarine shards. There we go. The next questline is the crystals questline, and I'm kind of out of time for today to dive into this, so we're gonna save it for next episode. In the meantime, I'm really hoping you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, make sure to smash the like button. You can also subscribe to get notified when new videos go live. And you can support me on Patreon as well if you want. And I will see you all in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye-bye.